For the entirety of the resource wars that turned the worlds of the cluster against one another, the military forces of Planet Bone, Planet Ice, and Planet Rock launched daring campaigns onto the surface of Planet Fire. Desperate to obtain the energy needed to keep their own worlds prosperous, these raiders were willing to brave one of the harshest environments imaginable. But it was never the raging volcanoes or fields of magma that these would-be invaders feared above all. For the greatest danger on Planet Fire was in the red skies above, the Inferno fighter. The primary aerospace craft utilized by Planet Fire, the Inferno fighter was expected to undertake a variety of missions across both their homeworld, the other planets of the cluster, and the interplanetary space in between. Though a capable multi-role fighter, adept at performing ground attack missions, bombing, reconnaissance, and the suppression of air defenses, the Inferno fighter was truly unparalleled during air combat maneuvering. With a total length of roughly 12 meters, a wingspan of 6 meters, and a height of 5.5, the Inferno fighter was the smallest aerospace craft operated within the cluster, but by far the fastest and most nimble. Its design benefited from the nature of Planet Fire itself, constructed from super light yet remarkably resilient alloys, and powered by an intensely efficient fuel source found nowhere else in the cluster. Its physical arrangement was similarly exotic. The Inferno possessed a long, slender hull, flanked by thrusters situated on twin pivoting pylons. During flight, the cockpit would rotate until it was oriented vertically, with the pilot in an almost standing position. When landing or during other modes of flight, it could seamlessly transition to a more traditional sitting arrangement. This evoked the ancient traditions of the Igneous Knights, who in Planet Fire's early history rode the legendary lava chariots into battle. Best suited to operating within the tumultuous air currents of Planet Fire, the design incorporated many elements that made it particularly effective during atmospheric flight. V-shaped dorsal airfoils lined its hull, providing exceptional lift, while the wings connecting the engine pylons allowed for excellent low-speed maneuvering. It was also capable of nearly unpowered flight, utilizing heat flaps and pressurized release vents to glide along hot air drafts and atmospheric circulation. In practice, this allowed the Inferno fighter to operate far longer and near silently when needed. Its primary armament consisted of 6 cannons arranged along its forward hull. They fired superheated filaments, again indigenous to Planet Fire, which were capable of piercing even heavy-plated armor. They could be fired in short bursts or synchronized in such a way that at least one cannon is always firing while the others reload. Inferno fighters were the mainstay craft of Planet Fire throughout the majority of the resource wars, and saw intense action throughout the cluster. On Planet Fire itself, they were instrumental in deterring the raids of the other worlds, while equally effective at providing air cover when persecuting raids of their own. The fighter was especially lethal in the comparatively calmer skies of Planet Rock and Planet Bone, but suffered slightly against the unfavorable atmospheric conditions present on Planet Ice. Yet, even when operating well below peak performance, no other craft in the cluster could match its maneuverability. It was not unheard of for Inferno fighters to literally fly circles around their opponents, with the gunships of Planet Rock especially vulnerable. The arrival of the Beast Planet within the cluster, and the formation of an alliance intended to stand against it, fundamentally transformed the role of the Inferno fighter. With the intentions and participation of Planet Bone and Planet Rock constantly in doubt, the Inferno fighter, together with its former rival, the Bladewing of Planet Ice, became the primary aerospace craft of the entire alliance. They became ubiquitous across Alliance fleets, and performed favorably against the numerically superior Beast drones. Victory during the Battle of Remora would have been impossible without the Inferno fighter, whose superior maneuverability helped draw away enemy craft from the more sluggish Alliance fighters and bombers. With the destruction of Planet Fire at the hands of the Beast, and the discovery of world engines, the Inferno fighter became the guardians of their exiled people. They continued to fly alongside their allies, seeking out a new world in which they might ignite the spark of their homeland once more. But wherever they flew, the great Inferno of planet Fire endured, kept alive in the bravery of their pilots and the craft that bore its name.
In Arsenal, the Templin Institute investigates the weapons, vehicles, and other constructs from across alternate worlds. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to join the Templin Institute, consider pledging to our Patreon page. Along with increased security access, you'll be able to vote in polls to determine future topics, get custom wallpaper every week, and receive some other exclusive rewards.